CJ, Brian Murphy with WRL. Coach Steve Belichick mentioned, frustration. He expects players to be frustrated, particularly on defense right now. What do you think the level of frustration in the locker room is about how you guys have played, particularly in some of the biggest games of the year?
Well, I would just say I feel like the frustration comes from, just mistakes from the little things, the little things that we just need to execute and clean up. And, that game's behind us and we're trying to get ready to prepare for our next game. The biggest thing is just communication, doing our job, and getting it done.
Was there a feeling after that Clemson game in particular, that the way it started, the way it kind of went, even coming off a bye week, that how come we're not cleaning up some of these little things, some of these mistakes?
Well, like I said, we're just going to come in and build off our last game. It didn't go the way we wanted it to. As I said before, little things, execution problems, but, and it just comes from the communication. But like I said, we've been building all that, we've been fixing that, and we're preparing for our game Friday. So.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, CJ, to pull up that a little bit, obviously having the chance to kind of look at, past games, I know you're building toward the next one. In doing so, what are some ways that you think from a defensive standpoint that you guys can kind of, set the tone sooner, if that makes sense? Maybe starting faster from the defense.
Well, as you said, starting off fast, and these past weeks we emphasized the little things and things that we slid up on in our past games and building off on it, staying as a unit and keeping that confidence strong because we know we have plenty of games ahead of us.
Pat?
Yeah, what do you think the mood is right now with the team? Obviously, play on the field hasn't been what you guys hoped. There was a lot of noise last week. Kind of where are you guys at morale-wise, unity-wise, heading forward?
We're still strong. I feel like we're excited to really, move on to our next game and really show that like we've been working towards the corrections that were needed from the past game. We're still a unity. We're still all as one. The team chemistry and team bond is still strong. So.
Shelby?
Just following up on that, who've maybe been some of the folks that have been stepping up kind of in the locker room players to keep you guys on that path, especially with all frustration and those?
Okay, I would say other than me, I would say Kamori House, our starting linebacker, and Jordan Shipp and a couple of other players on the team who we consider as captains and who are really vocal and really trying to keep us as a unit close together and strong throughout the season, everything that's going on.
Next question for CJ? Jeremiah?
Yeah, I guess going off that, some of the stuff that you and George saying, more saying things like that. I guess what you're talking about, staying together and everything like that. I guess what does that look like? Is that more so like practices or kind of after meetings? Like I guess how are they delivering that message to you guys to kind of show?
I would just say, really just holding each other to like a certain standard to like certain things that we do, and making sure everyone's being held to accountability. Accountability is the biggest thing, and just communicating with your brother. Because if we're able to do that, then we're able to really build off things and get to where we need to be as a team.
Brian?
When you committed to play for Coach Belichick, what was the sales pitch to you, and how much did you talk to Mike Lombardi, and what was that experience like?
Okay. Well, we're going back.
Sorry.
Well, one of the biggest things that I talked about when I was talking to Coach Belichick was just really, how I would be developed here and, what the things I've been learning. And everything that we talk about, I feel like has happened. I feel like I've developed on and off the field. I've developed, not just physical, but mentally and like my IQ into the game. And like I said, it's been a little minute, but I don't remember much from my talk with Coach Lombardi, but it was a good talk that also really helped me get me here. He was, a good guy, straightforward, and, we had a great conversation.
Sure.
Just following up on that specifically, how, you said, physically, mentally, that sort of thing, but any specific examples of ways that you feel like you've developed as a player so far?
I would say my football knowledge has developed a lot, because Coach Belichick is big on the little things and, is big on not just knowing what you have to do, but the person beside you, behind you, and also knowing what the offense is doing as well, or having an idea.
Noah?
With the things that circulated last week, were any like Kamori or Jordan, did you guys have a big team sort of meeting just to make sure that everyone's staying focused, and were those same guys the ones that were sort of leading that?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. We always check in with each other, see where everybody's heads is at the end of the day, just to make sure that we're ready, straightforward, and just doing our best to really prepare for our next game.
Shelby?
Yeah, I guess just really quick following up on that, like, was there a specific meeting, say like a players only meeting, or was it just more kind of a series of conversations?
I guess, like I said before, it was just, we was able to really build on it, talk about it, address it, move on from it, and get ready for Cal.
Just, I guess,
Go ahead.
really quick follow-up on that, kind of going back to the frustration that Brian was asking about, how have you maybe seen, like, frustration emerge for you guys, like, in the locker room, and how have you guys worked to maybe channel that towards, something productive?
Well, I mean, I would say frustration comes with being an athlete, and I feel like we are very competitive. We all want to win, but like as I said before, we're coming together as a unit. We're coming to practice, fixing the mistakes that occurred, and getting ready for the next game.
And last one for Adam.
CJ, I agree on saying, coming together, fixing mistakes. When a team is struggling, fans, want to see big changes. Like, what would you say, just in your opinion, has needed to change defensively from some of the things that have been tripping you guys up? Like, what's your take on that?
Change, I wouldn't say change. I would just feel like there's just things that we just got to fix. And so, there's like the little communication errors and like the little things, like just coming together, executing, doing our jobs. That's about it. And like I said, we've been emphasizing that a lot, and we're prepared for Friday.
And just to follow up real quick, what were the things that stood out to you about the start against Clemson? I mean, it was 28-3 at the end of the first quarter. Obviously, not a good start. Like, what jumped out to you about the way you guys played and what you didn't do?
Can you ask that one time?
What stood out to you about the way you guys played early against Clemson? It's a big deficit very quickly, 28-3 at the end of the first quarter. Like, what stood out to you about what you weren't able to do as a defense that led to, them hitting all the big plays and just getting out to such a huge lead?
I mean, well, obviously, the game didn't start the way we wanted to, but we was able to go back out there and finish the game strong. Looking at that game, just a little, like as I said before, little mistakes and little errors and that we've been fixing in these past weeks. So.
Perfect. Good stuff. Thanks so much.
Thank you, CJ.